Hello, it's Filibuster here again. It's been a while since I made one of these, but I figured I'd make like a general guide video for Infernal players, because there's a few like specific tricks that will help you play better as an Infernal player. And you might know some of them, but maybe you don't know all of them. And in this video I will lay out 5 different small tricks that will improve especially your opening as Infernal, but overall it's gonna make your game more effective. I'll be able to demonstrate 4 of them on the first map, and then I need to switch maps, so let's go. The very first thing is taking out the health flowers against the vanguard players. And for that we will start by sending our Hexen away right away. You should figure out where the health flowers are on all the maps, as best you can. And your Hexen will go collect them, starting from the ones that are near your own base, which might feel counterintuitive, but remember that this is against Vanguard specifically. And the idea behind this is that you are not taking them away from yourself, you're taking them away from the enemy dog. Because it's gonna come harass you, and it's gonna fight your units until it goes low hit health, and then it will just go eat a health flower and come back, harass you again.
Return.
But if you took the flowers yourself, then it will get very confused. It won't be able to come back for a while, if at all, and you have peace and quiet in your base. So I start with the ones near my base, but depending on your opening, maybe you can go get the ones on the opponent's side as well, and it's gonna hurt him even more. So in this case I'm gonna take these 4 flowers, and then I'm gonna teleport my Hexen back home. And that's going to make his dog harass pretty toothless.
Darkness falls.
There we go. And the next thing I'm going to show you, once my Iron Vault finishes, is how to take out any of the health camps in the game with just one brute. Like, when I'm watching people play, I often see them go take the health camp with one brute, and they lose the brute. And that's very inefficient, because especially against, well, pretty much any matchup, but especially against the Vanguard, you're going to need the brute in the early game. Fiends don't do anything against Lancer pushes, for example. So I'll just show you the simple technique to take down the health camp with one brute without losing any units. There we go. So the only thing you need to do is that you start tanking with the Hexen instead of the brute, so that all of the slimes will target your Hexen. Oh, that's awesome. Great batting. But yeah, just take them out. And keep making more skulls. Your Hexen can tank until it's pretty low. Then you take out all the fiends, go back a little. All of them will retarget your brute, but well, that kind of went wrong. They were already targeting it partially, but anyway, all of your units will survive like this, even though that was a bit weird. So that was number 2. Don't lose your brute on the health camp. Now the next thing is how to make your effigies permanent, to give the permanent shroud ambition. And as you can see, the effigy lasts 20 seconds and it has a cooldown of 20 seconds. So you might think that you can't make it permanent on itself, but actually you can very easily. Because you see that once the effigy expires, it takes a few seconds for the actual shroud to disappear. And if in that time you cast the effigy again on the shroud, it will become permanent, because it has been cast on shroud. And that's how you can double cast it to become permanent. And now we have permanent effigy, which has more hit points, it's gonna stay forever. And that's generally very efficient compared to just using it once, because then you will never have to cast it again on the same location, and you can also spread out more shrouds from there. And that brings me to my next point, which is how to make a shroud highway. This is something I like to make on all the maps. From the beginning of the game, just start spreading the effigies to spread your shroud. And you can do it by just always casting the new one on the edge of the previous one. And this has some pretty big advantages for you. The main thing, of course, is that Shroud gives you white health, so if your units always keep moving on the Shroud, they will have a lot more hit points. There we go, keep extending. Which is gonna make taking all the camps and fights easier, with less losses. And the second one is that you're actually saving Animus because you don't need to double cast effigies to make them permanent. You can just cast one and it keeps stays permanently. And the final one, well, not the final one, the third one is actually for Weavers. You really want to connect all your bases with a Shroud, because that way your Weavers will be able to move fast. They are so slow off Shroud. And that will always throw off your army movements otherwise. And then the final part is that, as you can see, the effigies actually give you vision as well. So if you have like a highway of these all the way to halfway across the map, the enemy will not be able to surprise you, because you always have vision everywhere. It's like Creep 2 mods in StarCraft 2 if you have been playing that in that sense. You just need to be a bit on point on actually using this when the cooldown is up. And that was the first 4 items on the list. Those are applicable to all the maps. The final one is something you can only do on Broken Crown, so I'm gonna show that next. There we go. So just remember this thing about your opening if you're playing on Broken Crown. I wouldn't necessarily do this against the Vanguard, or, well, specific against Vanguard, but you can do this against Infernal or Celestial. You can see that you have this speed camp here right under the cliff. So you can just send your Hexen here right at the beginning of the game. And start attacking the Shadow Mastiffs. After 2 shots they will trigger and they will start running. So if you just park your Hexen here on hold position, it's gonna keep attacking them and eventually it will kill them. And they will do nothing at all. So this is just like free income in the early game. That's also why on this map I like to open with Conclave instead of Iron Vault, because you can also make 2 gaunts and then rally them here and help finish off this pack very fast for a quick income injection at the early game. By the way, don't bother sending skulls when you're doing this solo, because they will all stop. Oh, this doesn't do 11. You can just re-trigger them. They will actually attack your skull if you try to do this. Well, this time it works, but sometimes they will just stop and all shoot it down immediately. So I don't recommend using the skull here. Even if you think you can get easy fins, it usually won't work. So that was my 5 quick tricks for improving your Infernal play. I hope some of them will be useful for you, because you can apply them to pretty much all of your games. And I will also be making a guide with my Vanguard play order or build order, my tactic against Vanguard in this patch, because that has been a matchup that I struggled with a lot until I came up with a very strong build. So I will also be sharing that with you in the next video. But for now, peace out.